Small town diner. 6:45 a.m. Winter morning. The diner opens with the hush of tired hinges and the clink of silverware on ceramic. A coffee machine sputters. Wind hums outside, brushing against frost-flecked windows. The kind of place where no one asks your name, but remembers your order. Eli, early 20s, lean, clean-shaven, and quieter than silence itself, wipes down the chrome counter. His uniform, crisp but worn, fits like someone else's past. A name tag pinned to his chest reads Eli, though few ever use it. He moves with a rhythm only the undernoticed know, stacking plates, folding napkins, refilling sugar jars. Not rushed, not bitter, just precise. Like dignity held tightly in trembling fingers. Most people don't see the boy behind the counter, but he's seen them, all of them. Their patterns, their pain, their tiny rebellions, like cream instead of milk. Eli doesn't need much, just the hum of the jukebox when it wakes, and the way silence says more than talk. The doorbell jingles. A small gust of cold. An old man enters, unshaven, hunched, wrapped in a coat too thin for December. Eli notices, quietly. He grabs a clean mug, pours the coffee before the old man even sits. Eli, softly. "Mornin', sir. Black, right?" The old man nods, barely lifting his eyes. He slides into a corner booth like it's hiding him. No one else pays attention. Not the trucker on his third refill. Not the waitress counting tips. Just Eli, quietly watching as the old man stares at the tabletop like it betrayed him. He sets the coffee down gently. Eli creams on the side. "In case you change your mind." The old man doesn't speak. But when Eli turns to go, a soft sniffle cuts through the buzz of the diner. Eli pauses, watches from the counter. The old man's shoulders are shaking, barely. Not from the cold. Eli doesn't move, doesn't intrude, but he doesn't look away. The floor caught the tear before it reached his hand, and somehow Eli felt it fall through him, too. A tear hits the linoleum, slow and deliberate. But it isn't Eli's. Diner, 1 week later, same booth, same coat. The booth waits for him like a church pew. The old man slips in, same time, same silence. His hands tremble slightly as he sets down a worn paperback. The spine broken in 2 places. It's not clear if he reads it, or just needs to hold something. Eli watches from the counter again. No words, just eyes that notice. This time he brings coffee and a biscuit. No questions asked. Eli, gently. "Baked fresh this morning. Still warm." The old man looks up. For the first time their eyes meet. There's a flicker of something behind the man's memory, maybe, or regret. He nods once, like that's all the thanks he can manage. Eli doesn't linger. He moves to the jukebox and, without a word, flips through the dusty titles. He pauses on a track titled "Misty Morning Lullaby." Presses play. A gentle melody drifts through the air. Soft piano, slow and longing. The old man stares out the window, where a school bus passes. Kids laughing behind fogged-up glass. His hand tightens on the mug. Eli returns to polishing forks, watching from the reflection in the steel. Some people are built from stone. But when time rains long enough, even stone starts to crack. And from those cracks, stories seep through. Time passes. He eats half the biscuit, finishes the coffee, rises slowly, like gravity's heavier on older bones. He doesn't say goodbye, doesn't thank Eli, but as he walks out, he slips a small folded note under the edge of the plate, barely noticeable, torn from a pocket journal. Eli collects the dishes, pauses, unfolds the paper. It reads, "Kindness is a quiet language. Thank you for speaking it." No name, just the weight of a life unspoken. Eli's apartment, nightfall dim. Quiet. A single bulb flickers above a small kitchen sink. The faucet drips steady as a heartbeat. The walls are the color of forgotten stories. Dull, yellowed, chipped at the corners. Eli sets down his backpack, still wearing his busboy uniform. He kicks off his shoes without untying them. They land next to a second pair. smaller with a hole in the sole. His space is no bigger than a motel room. Bed, sink, rust-stained shower curtain, hot plate, and a window that barely opens. But it's clean, intentionally so, like he respects what little he has. He opens the fridge, 2 eggs, a slice of bread, and a half-full jar of peanut butter. He cracks the eggs into a dented pan. No salt, no pepper, just heat and memory. Some boys grow up with fireworks and birthday cakes. Eli grew up with flickering bulbs and half meals. But even in small places, music finds a way to echo. He walks over to a dusty tape deck, clicks it on, a faint hiss. Then, the crackle of an old cassette. Soft piano notes pour out, raw and analog, like something remembered instead of played, a melody of absence and hope. Eli closes his eyes. His fingers twitch as if they know the keys. Though he's never owned a piano, he hums along, low and gentle. The exact same tune the old man had whistled in the diner. He doesn't notice, but something in him does. He stops, halfway through the tune, eyes opening slow, like waking from a dream he didn't know he was in. Outside, snow begins to fall, soft and soundless. Inside, the tape plays on, looping a song both old and unfinished. Diner, Wednesday morning. The windows are fogged again. Rain replaces the snow now. A cold drizzle clinging to the glass like ghosts refusing to let go. Eli wipes down the counter, sleeves rolled up, knuckles raw from soap and steel. The door chimes. The old man enters, same coat, same boots with slush at the heel. He doesn't speak, doesn't even look at the menu. He moves straight to booth 5, just like last time. But this time, Eli doesn't move right away. He watches the man pull out a coin and slide it into the dusty jukebox against the wall. Click, whir. A familiar melody spills out. Piano, slow, bittersweet. Misty morning lullaby. Waitress, Kayla, mid-30s, sharp eyes but kind smile, leans against the coffee bar beside Eli, Kayla. You ever notice he only plays that one? Eli, quietly, every week. Same booth, same song. She nods, chewing gum like she's counting something. Kayla. You know he used to come in here 20 years ago? Before I even worked here. One of the old-timers told me, Eli. What happened? Kayla, no one knows. Just stopped showing up. Then maybe a year ago he started coming again. But only Wednesdays. Always alone. Eli glances over. The old man is staring at the jukebox, not even blinking. His hand shakes slightly as he lifts the coffee cup to his lips. Kayla, softly. He doesn't just look sad. Eli, no? She shakes her head. Kayla. He looks like he lost something, and keeps hoping it'll come back if he sits still enough. A long pause. Eli's eyes darken. Not with fear, but with some quiet recognition. Kayla sighs. He only comes in on Wednesdays, and always looks like he's lost someone. Diner, late morning. Wednesday continues. The storm outside thickens. Rain taps the glass like fingers trying to get in. Inside, the jukebox has stopped, but the silence it leaves behind is louder than any melody. The old man sits hunched in the booth, eyes locked on a napkin. Not writing, just staring. Eli walks over with a refill, trying not to interrupt the grief that clings to the booth like a second shadow. Eli, refill? The old man nods once. Eli pours slowly. The steam swirls up between them, curling like breath on a cold morning. The old man suddenly sniffs, sharp and broken. Then again, and then, his shoulders start to shake. Quiet at first, almost invisible. But Eli sees it, and he doesn't walk away. He sets the pot down, gently, and slides into the seat across from him. Hesitant, respectful. The old man doesn't look up, but the tears fall now, slow and unwilling, streaking the creases of his face like rivers that hadn't run in years. Eli, softly. Sometimes coffee's not strong enough, huh? The man huffs a sound, part laugh, mostly ache. He wipes his eyes with the side of his hand, embarrassed. Old man. Croaky. Sorry, I don't. Usually, Eli. It's all right. Nobody cries in here unless they trust the eggs. A pause. Then, unexpectedly, old man. Gravelly whisper. She used to sing while doing dishes. Always off-key. Drove me mad. Now I'd give anything to hear it again. Eli doesn't know what to say. So he doesn't. He just sits there. Present. The old man reaches out suddenly, trembling hand closing around Eli's like it's a life raft. His eyes find Eli's, and they hold. Longer than strangers should. Old man. Small. Thank you. For seeing me. And in that moment it wasn't coffee that warmed the booth. It was being noticed. Diner, moments later. Same booth rain patters harder now. The windows blur completely, like the world outside has been erased. The old man's grip on Eli's hand loosens, but not completely. His eyes, glassy, red-rimmed, linger on Eli's face as though searching for something he can't name. Old man. Your name. It's Eli, isn't it? Eli nods. Quiet. Eli. How'd you... Old man, heard one of the waitresses call you. Kayla, maybe. Pretty sharp one. Eli smiles faintly, unsure. The man leans back, bones creaking beneath the weight of memory. He looks out the window again. Or through it. Old man. I had a daughter once. She was sharp too. Smarter than me. Laughed with her whole chest when she was little. Like her lungs couldn't hold joy for more than a second. Eli tilts his head, unsure if he's being spoken to or simply hearing a man unravel in real time. Eli. What was her name? A silence stretches. The old man doesn't answer right away. His jaw tightens. Hands fidget in his lap. And then, a whisper. A name. Fragile as breath and twice as haunted. Old man. Lena. Eli's heart stops. His eyes sharpen, breath catching halfway up his throat. Eli. Softly. Lena? The old man nods, unaware of the ripple he's sent across the table. Old man. She would have been, what now? Late 30s? Early 40s? Eli doesn't speak. His mouth is slightly open, but no words come. The name didn't just echo. It collided, because Eli only knew one Lena, and she wasn't just anyone. She was his mother. Eli's apartment. Night, the diner's gone. The rain has stopped. Eli stands at the cracked bathroom mirror, toothbrush hanging from his mouth, eyes vacant. The name Lena echoes in his mind like a chord struck too hard on an out-of-tune piano. He spits, rinses, but the feeling won't wash off. He walks over to a cardboard, box tucked under his bed, taped at the corners, scribbled in marker. Mom, old stuff, peels it open. Flashback begins small apartment. Years ago, Nita, younger Eli, maybe 10, sits at the kitchen table, legs swinging off the chair. Across from him, Lena, mid-30s, braiding her hair in the dim kitchen light. She's tired, but beautiful in that quiet, unshaken way some women wear like armor. A photo album lies open between them. Eli, younger, mom. Where's your dad? Lena's hand pauses mid-braid. The tension is instant, palpable. Her fingers untangle. The braid dies halfway. Lena. He left a long time ago. Eli. Did he die? Lena's eyes flicker. Not sorrow, not rage, something colder. Resolve. Lena. No. She stands, begins tidying dishes that don't need tidying. Eli. Then where is he? She turns slowly, towel in hand, voice low but hard. Lena gone. Eli. And that's all that matters. Eli blinks, caught off guard. Lena kneels in front of him, taking his hands. Lena, softening. Some things don't deserve to be remembered. They don't deserve space. Not in your head, not in your heart, Eli, but don't you miss him? Her silence answers for her. She touches his cheek. Warm, protective, final. Lena. Some things, she whispers, are better left buried. Flashback Enseli's apartment. Night, present. Eli holds a worn photo of Lena, barely smiling, maybe 16. Behind her, faint in the background, stands a man with the same brow as Eli. Diner parking lot. Wednesday afternoon, overcast. The rain has lightened to a steady mist, more air than water. Clouds hang low like tired blankets. Eli walks the old man out, umbrella in hand, though the man barely seems to notice the weather. They move slowly, the old man with deliberate steps, as if walking through memory. Old man, speaking low. Same parking lot, same air, but everything else, different. Eli offers a soft nod, but his mind is spinning. Lena? Lena? They reach the man's rusty Buick, tucked beneath a flickering lamppost. The old man reaches into his coat, fumbles with his keys. A photo flutters from his pocket, caught briefly in the wind, then landing near a puddle by Eli's foot. Eli. Wait, you dropped something. The man doesn't hear. Eli bends down, fingers brushing cold asphalt. He lifts the photo carefully, water beating at the corners. It's old, faded, but the image is clear enough to shake something loose in his chest. A teenage girl, barefoot in a sundress, hair in a braid, sits on the hood of a car, sunlight kissing her cheeks, laughing mid-motion. Lena. No doubt. Not a resemblance. His mother, Eli, stares, stunned, as if the past had just reached out of the sky and slapped him across the face. Old man, turning back. Something wrong? Eli's eyes snap up, but he doesn't speak. He just shakes his head and tucks the photo gently in his jacket pocket. Eli. No, nothing. But inside, everything is no longer still. The rain didn't stop. It just started falling harder. Inside. Diner. The next week, Wednesday's team rises from mugs. The booth by the window waits like a wound that won't close. The old man sits there again, staring at the jukebox, not playing it this time, just watching the song titles roll by, as if one of them might spell redemption. Eli walks over, coffee pot in hand, heart thudding like a metronome in a quiet room. He pours the coffee. The man doesn't speak. Eli slides into the booth across from him, a boldness he didn't have last week. Eli. I saw the photo. A long pause. The old man stares at his mug like it's a reflection of his past. Old man. Quiet. You kept it? Eli wouldn't let the rain have it. The old man nods slowly. His fingers tap the rim of the cup. Eli. That girl. In the picture. That's Lena, right? The name floats like dust in the air. The old man doesn't flinch, but his lip quivers. Old man. Yes. Eli leans forward, tension unspoken but rising like steam. Eli, how do you know her? The old man doesn't answer at first. He reaches into his coat, pulls out a thin leather wallet, worn, frayed. Inside is another photo. A younger Lena, maybe 5, held in arms that clearly don't know what to do with her. He places it on the table, slides it across. His voice is barely above a whisper. Old man. She was my daughter. He looks up at Eli, eyes glossy, voice cracking like old wood. Old man. But I never got to be her father. Some truths don't arrive with trumpets. They arrive like old men, late, slow, and filled with regret. Diner. Minutes later, same booth. The photo between them sits like a crack in time. Eli doesn't touch it, just stares at it like it might vanish if he blinks too hard. The old man fidgets, pulling at the fraying thread of his coat sleeve. Old man. I never got to explain, never got to fix it. So I wrote. Every year, Eli tilts his head, confused. Eli wrote? The man nods, eyes drifting toward the window, toward something only he can see. Old man. Birthdays. Christmas. First days of school. Even when I didn't know if she was still in school. I wrote, just to feel like I existed to someone. Eli's breath catches. The man reaches slowly beneath the bench and lifts a weathered shoebox, taped at the corners and sun-faded like it's been waiting a long time. Old man. Here. Eli hesitates, then takes the box and sets it gently on the table. The weight of it feels emotional before he even opens it. He peels the tape, lifts the lid. Inside are dozens of letters, some yellowed, some still crisp, all sealed in the same hesitant handwriting. Each envelope is marked, "To Lena." From Dad. Eli runs his fingers over one, feels the texture of a life never read. He notices the stamps. Many are marked "Return to Sender." Some are torn, others unopened, the ink running where tears or rain once touched them. He swallows hard. Eli. She never opened them? The old man shakes his head slowly. Old man. I kept sending them anyway. Because hope is stubborn. There's a special kind of grief in unread words, the kind that doesn't just break your heart. It presses silence into it. Lena's living room, evening. The sky outside bleeds tangerine and gray, the kind of light that turns memories gold before they fade. Eli stands in front of the couch holding the shoebox of letters. His posture is tight, like every part of him wants to scream but knows it won't help. Lena, mid-40s, apron still on, hair slightly damp from the dishwater, walks into the room drying her hands. She stops when she sees the box. Lena, what's that? Eli doesn't answer at first. He holds up one of the envelopes. Eli, these were for you. Lena's face stiffens. She knows immediately. Lena, where did you get those? Eli, he gave them to me. She crosses her arms. Her breath shallows. Lena, you saw him again? Eli, I didn't know it was him until last week. But yeah, I did. A beat. Eli. You told me he was gone, that he didn't matter. You never said he was trying. Lena's voice rises before she can stop it. Lena, he doesn't get credit for trying after what he did. Eli takes a step closer. Eli, what did he do, Mom? What was so bad that I had to grow up thinking I didn't even have a grandfather? Lena stares at the floor, chest rising fast. Eli, did he hit you? Hurt you? Abandon us? Her lips tremble. Lena, he left. Eli, people come back. She shakes her head, tears rushing forward now uninvited. Lena, he left when I was 17, pregnant, terrified. And when I needed him most, he wasn't there. Her voice cracks like ice under weight. Lena, I didn't want you to know what he abandoned. Some truths come wrapped in rage, others in tears we've spent years swallowing. Eli's apartment. Night. The room is dark, except for the glow of a small desk lamp flickering over the shoebox of unopened letters. Eli sits cross-legged on his thin mattress, one letter open in his lap. The handwriting is neat, careful, desperate to be heard. His eyes skim the lines, but he doesn't read them out loud. The words don't feel real. Narration. VO. There are stories you grow up believing. That your family is small. That silence is safety. That missing pieces aren't supposed to be found. Flashes of memory, young Eli standing beside his mother at a bus stop, holding her hand like it was a life vest. A school project. Draw your family. Eli draws two people. The teacher kneels beside him, puzzled. Teacher, just the two of you? Eli nods, teenage Eli at a piano in the community center. Alone. Playing softly as the janitor sweeps behind him, pretending not to listen. Back in the present, Eli stares at the open letter. He folds it slowly, presses it back into the box, stands, walks over to the window, rain again. It always rains when something hurts. Eli, VO. He left before I was born. Didn't see first steps. Didn't hear my first song. Didn't carry groceries or sit at my graduation. He leans his head against the glass. Eli, VO. So why does he get to cry now? A car passes below, headlights stretching shadows across the wall. Eli closes the curtain, turns off the lamp, sits in darkness. You don't need a father to become a man, but you feel the ache anyway. Diner, Following Wednesday. Early morning, the air is thick with steam and silence. The usual clatter of forks and clinks of mugs feel distant, muffled by something deeper. Eli stands behind the counter, pouring coffee without looking. His eyes drift toward the corner booth. The old man is already there. No menu, no coffee yet, just staring out the window at nothing. Eli brings over the mug, places it down without a word. He starts to walk away. Then he hears it, a faint hum. Low, barely audible, but full of ache. The old man hums the tune, that same melody Eli grew up with. The one his mother used to hum under her breath while folding laundry or doing dishes. Eli freezes, turns back. The hum continues, slow, fragile, like it might fall apart mid-note. Eli sits down across from him. Slowly, Eli. You know that song? The old man stops humming. Blinks. Old man. Song Eli. The one you were just humming. You've done it before, a few weeks ago too. Same melody. The old man tilts his head, as if pulling the memory forward like a coat from a dusty closet. Old man I used to hum it to my daughter when she couldn't sleep. Made it up on the spot one night when she had a fever. Didn't think I remembered it until recently. Eli leans back, breath catching again. Eli, softly. My mom used to hum that song too. The old man's eyes lift. The silence between them is no longer empty. It's heavy. Eli's voice comes out lower now, almost hesitant. Eli. Where did you learn that song? Some melodies don't travel far, unless they were meant to find someone. Diner. Same booth. Moments later, steam coils from their untouched mugs. The hum of the diner feels distant, like background music to a moment that doesn't want to be interrupted. Eli leans in, eyes searching the old man's weathered face. Eli, you made it up? Old man nods. One night, she was burning up, delirious. Couldn't sleep. I was scared, didn't know what to do. So I held her and started humming. Flashback, small bedroom, 1980s, a younger version of the old man. Thinner, dark-haired, panic in his eyes. Paces with a tiny child cradled to his chest. She cries softly, cheeks flushed. He begins to hum, clumsy at first, then steadier. The baby sobs slow. Her eyes flutter. She rests. His humming becomes a whisper of comfort stitched from panic. Back to present old man. Didn't give it a name. Just kept using it whenever she was upset. Became. Ours. Eli stares down at his hands. Something shivers behind his ribs. Eli. My mom. She used to hum it when she cooked. When bills piled up. When she didn't want me to hear her crying in the other room. The old man doesn't speak for a while. His eyes shine, rimmed with something ancient and aching. Old man. Whispers. I thought I forgot it. Eli looks up. The old man's voice shakes, not from age, but from emotion. Old man. Until I heard you humming it. Some songs don't belong to radios or records. They belong to people. To blood, downtown street. Late afternoon, light snow shops line the old brick street like faded memories. Strings of yellow lights flicker above, swaying in the wind. People pass bundled in coats and earbuds. No one notices the quietness in the corner, where a worn upright piano sits just outside a bookstore. A faded sign taped to it reads, "Play me." The street breathes, cold and distant, until Eli steps into frame. He hesitates, looks around, then sits down slowly, brushing snow off the cracked keys. His fingers hover, then they fall. Soft notes drift out, fragile and slow, the same lullaby. Each chord is deliberate, hesitant, but true. Like his hands remember something he never practiced. He closes his eyes, letting it lead him. Some people speak through silence, some bleed through song. Across the street, the old man stands still. coat pulled tight, breath visible in the air. He hadn't meant to walk this way, but the sound rooted him to the sidewalk. His eyes widen, recognition sharp as grief. The melody floats to him like smoke, familiar, painful, beautiful. People pass him, but he doesn't move. The final notes ring out. Not perfect, but enough to make the air feel warmer. Eli lifts his hands, the silence returning like snowfall. He turns and sees the old man standing there across the street, crying. Not sobbing, just quiet tears carving through decades. Their eyes meet. No wave, no smile. Just music hanging between them, like a thread neither one knows how to hold. Some fathers hold their children. Others hear them. Diner. 1 week later. Wednesday. The booth by the window is warmer now. Not physically, but something in the air has changed. Less ache, more invitation. Eli sits across from the old man, a chessboard between them. The pieces are chipped. The salt shaker subs in for a missing pawn. The game is slow. So is the conversation, but it's happening. Eli. You always play bishop that early? Old man. Only when I'm trying to lose. Eli, you're doing great then. The old man chuckles. A real one. It creaks out like an attic door finally opened. They sit in that silence. Comfortable this time. Old man. Your mom, she liked pawns, said they were the underdogs. Didn't matter how small they started. They could still reach the other side and become something else. Eli. She still says that. The old man smiles faintly, reaches for his coffee, but his hand trembles. Eli gently steadies the cup for him without a word. Old man. You don't have to do that. Eli. I know. Beat. Old man. You're kind, quiet, observant, like someone who learned not to speak unless it mattered. Eli doesn't respond, but the compliment lands. Old man. Sincerely. You remind me of me, but softer. Eli finally meets his gaze. Eli. Maybe that's a good thing. Some conversations take years to begin. And still, they begin on ordinary Wednesdays. The chessboard remains unfinished, but something else, fragile and human, has moved forward. Diner. Wednesday evening, closing hour. The diner is nearly empty. Chairs stacked, lights dimmed, only the booth in the corner stays lit, as if memory requested a spotlight. Eli refills the old man's mug, though it's barely touched. The jukebox hums a quiet instrumental, something jazzy and slow, like a heartbeat resting. Eli, what was she like when she was little? The old man leans back, eyes softening, not from age, but from regret laced with reverence. Old man Lena, Eli nods. The man closes his eyes. Flashback living room, 1980s. Young Lena dances on a coffee table, arms outstretched, wearing a pink plastic tiara and mismatched socks. She sings off-key, loud, proud. The younger version of the old man sits on the floor, clapping along, laughing so hard he cries. Back to present, old man. She was light, could make a whole room feel like spring, even in December. He pauses. Something in his voice falters. Old man. But I wasn't ready, didn't know how to hold joy that pure. So I dropped it. Eli looks away, throat tight. Eli. She never talked about you. It was like you didn't exist. Old man, I figured. I deserved that. Eli doesn't argue. The old man reaches into his coat again, pulls out another letter. The paper is soft, edges worn, like it's been opened and reread by the sender 1,000 times. Old man. I never stopped writing to her, even when everything in me said she wouldn't answer. He places the letter gently on the table. Old man. I just didn't know. She stopped reading. Words don't always fail us. Sometimes, we just stop waiting for them to land. Diner parking lot. Night. Light. Fog. The street lamps flicker in the mist. Eli and the old man step out into the cool night, silence sitting between them like a third person. The old man fumbles with his keys, hands unsteady. Eli leans against the wall, staring at the fog rolling in from the road. Heart tight, fingers tucked into his sleeves. Eli, she doesn't hate you, you know. The old man doesn't look up. Old man. She should, Eli. She was 17. You were her father. The keys jingle once in the old man's trembling hand. Then still. Old man, I failed her. And I failed you. Before I ever knew you existed. Eli doesn't speak right away. Then, Eli, come to dinner. The old man lifts his eyes, startled. Old man. Dinner, Eli, tomorrow night. Our place. Just a meal. A seat at the table, a long beat. The fog thickens between the cars. Old man. Does she know you're asking? Eli, no. The man scoffs lightly. Not in mockery, but disbelief. Old man. You sure she wants to see me? Eli looks away. Eli. I don't think she does. Beat, Eli. But maybe she needs to. A pause. Just wind and breath and headlights in the distance. The old man swallows hard, like the thought physically hurts. He nods. Once. Small. Some doors don't swing open. You have to knock, and hope the person inside is brave enough to answer. Lena's kitchen, Thursday evening. Blue hour. The room is warm, filled with soft yellow light and the smell of garlic and rosemary. A pot simmers gently on the stove. Dishes clink quietly. The atmosphere is too calm, like a calm that knows it's about to be broken. Lena moves methodically. She doesn't rush, but her eyes dart to the window every few minutes. She wipes her hands on her apron, turns to the small dining table. 3 plates. 3. 1 too many. She stares at them for a long time, then removes 1 plate, placing it back into the cupboard with sharp precision. But something in her shifts. Her hands pause at the edge of the wood. She opens the cupboard again, retrieves the plate, sets it back down. 3. Hallway. Moments later, Ellie, dressed in a collared shirt that doesn't quite fit, stands in front of the bathroom mirror. He adjusts his sleeves, takes a breath, checks the time. 6:57 p.m. Kitchen. Simultaneous Lena places forks beside each plate. Glass of water for each. No wine, no music. Just the clatter of old tension being dressed as hospitality. She hears Eli's footsteps approach. Doesn't turn. Lena. You sure this is a good idea? Eli, no. He stands beside her. Watches the steam rise from the stew. Eli. But it's the right one. She swallows, barely. A long pause. Then, ding-dong. The doorbell rings. Sharp, clean, like a blade through the moment. No one moves, no one breathes. Some doors don't just open. They tremble first. Lena's dining room, moments later. The door has opened, but no one says, hello. The old man stands inside the threshold, hat in hand, eyes low like he's stepped into a church where he's not welcome. Lena turns and walks back to the table without a word. Eli gestures him in to Eli. Come on, sit. The old man moves like he's carrying bricks inside his chest. He takes the empty seat, the one that had almost been removed. 3 chairs, 3 stories in silence. Steam from the stew rises between them, but no one touches their spoons. Clink. Lena breaks a piece of bread, not looking up. Lena, how do you take your guilt? The old man flinches. Just slightly. Old man, I came because… Lena? No. You came because someone asked you to. Beat Lena. He invited a stranger into my home, Eli. He's not a stranger. Lena. To you, maybe, to me. He was a man who left when I was 17. And never looked back. The old man finally meets her gaze. Old man. I looked back every day. Lena's eyes burn, but not with fire, with ice. Lena. Then why didn't you come? Old man. I was ashamed. She slams her napkin on the table. Not loud, but final. Lena. You don't get to bring that in here. Not now. Not after everything. Her voice shakes, but it's sharp. Lena, you don't get to cry at my table. Some reunions are not made of hugs. Some are made of knives. Lena's dining room, later. The meal has cooled, so have the words. Only the ticking of the old wall clock dares speak now. Eli pushes food around his plate. He hasn't taken more than 2 bites. Lena stares out the window, arms crossed tight over her chest. And the old man, he's not eating at all. He just sits there, small in his chair, like a guest at his own funeral. A linen napkin lies untouched beside his bowl. He reaches for it slowly, pulls a pen from his coat pocket. Shaking, hesitant, and begins to write. Eli watches in silence. The man scribbles. Not fast, but with a kind of urgency that feels like breathing underwater. Like this is his last chance for air. When he's done, he folds the napkin twice, hands trembling. He stands. Leaves his full plate. Leaves. The room. The front door opens. Closes. Eli stays seated. Only, after a long silence, does he reach across the table, takes the napkin, unfolds. The ink is shaky but legible. I missed everything that mattered. You don't have to forgive me, but I needed you to know. I never stopped being sorry. No name, just the napkin, and the weight of years it now carries. Eli stares at it, chest tight. Lena, rigid. He always did that. Notes. Always easier to write than speak. Eli folds the napkin once more. Gently, Eli, softly. He never learned to say sorry with words, but sometimes a napkin holds more honesty than 1,000 voices. Lena's living room. Later that night, the dishes are done. The napkin is folded and tucked into a drawer, but the air is still electric, like thunder trying to hold its breath. Eli stands near the window, arms crossed. Lena dries her hands at the sink, avoiding his eyes. Outside, a storm begins to drum on the roof, soft at first, then harder. Eli. He was trying. Lena, quietly. Trying doesn't undo leaving. Eli. You never even gave me the chance to decide what he meant to me. You told his story for him. Lena, I protected you. Eli turned sharply. Eli, did you? A beat, Eli? Or did you just protect yourself? She flinches. That one lands. Lena. Small. You don't know what it felt like. Being 17 and pregnant. And alone. Eli. No, I don't. But I know what it felt like being 5 and asking why I didn't have a grandfather. I know what it felt like being 10 and watching you cry at night and not being allowed to ask why. The rain pounds harder now. Eli. He left. Yeah, but he came back, and you looked through him like he wasn't even human. Lena lowers her gaze, arms folded now, like armor. Eli. I'm not saying you have to forgive him, but you don't get to keep him from me. A long pause. Thunder rolls outside. Eli's voice is raw now. Eli. You taught me to hate a man I never met. There are storms that break windows, and storms that break silence. Lena's attic, late night. The storm still rumbles outside, now distant, like thunder dragging its heels. Dust drifts through moonlight seeping in from a cracked attic window. Eli stands alone, flashlight in one hand, the other running over old boxes stacked like forgotten chapters. He opens one labeled Lena, School Years. Inside, notebooks, ribbons, a cracked snow globe, and at the bottom, a shoebox wrapped in a dish towel. He sits on an old trunk and opens it. Photos. Stacks of them. Young Lena with a bike. Lena at a piano recital. Lena laughing with braces. But what makes Eli pause are the ones where she's not alone. There he is, the old man, younger, full of light, holding her on his shoulders, blowing bubbles in a park, clapping at her school play. In one, she hugs him so tight you can't see her face, just the way her fingers grip the back of his flannel shirt. Eli runs his thumb over the glossy surface. He flips it over. A caption in Lena's handwriting, "Dad and me, before." He turns another photo over. "Last good day." Eli exhales slowly, as if the truth had been waiting in that box all along. He gathers the pictures in his lap, looks at them like puzzle pieces that never got a chance to fit. Living room. Minutes later, Lena sits on the couch, robe on, staring into nothing. Eli walks in, quiet, places the photos beside her. She doesn't speak. He sits down across from her, Eli, softly. "So what happened, Mom?" Before forgiveness comes the ashes, the proof that there was fire. Living room night. Same moment. The clock ticks. Rain taps the windows like it's eavesdropping. Lena doesn't touch the photos. She just stares past them, like they're pieces of a movie she once lived in but didn't get to direct. Eli waits. Still. Present. Finally, she speaks. Quiet. Ragged, Lena. He was magic when he wanted to be. She leans back slowly, Lena. He'd sing made-up lullabies about soup cans and stardust. He'd dance with me in the kitchen, socks sliding on the linoleum. He taught me how to play Claire de Lune on piano. By heart. Her voice breaks a little. Lena, but when he drank, the magic left, and all that was left was, shakes her head, just a man who didn't know how to stay. Eli watches her gently. Lena, he missed my 12th birthday. Said he forgot. By 15, I was covering for him when he forgot to come home at all. She exhales slowly. Lena. And then, I got pregnant. She finally picks up one photo, the one with her arms around him. Lena, I told him. I thought maybe this would change him, that maybe being a grandfather would fix the man who couldn't be a father. Her eyes now fill, not with rage, but something lonelier. Lena. But he just packed a bag, didn't even yell, didn't fight. He left a note and the house key on the counter. A beat. Lena. He left me in the rain, with a baby in my arms. Eli closes his eyes. Not to look away, but to hold it. Some abandonment doesn't slam doors, it just stops knocking. Diner. Following Wednesday. Early morning. The diner is still. No music, no clatter, just Eli and the old man, seated at the window booth again, the same spot where silence first began to crack open. Eli stirs his coffee but doesn't drink it. The old man has something in his hand, small, round, weathered. He places it on the table between them. It's a 20-year sobriety chip, dull bronze, a triangle inside a circle. The words, "To thine own self be true," etched into its face. Eli looks at it, then at the man. Eli, how long? Old man, 20 years. This spring, Eli exhales. He hadn't expected the number to be that high. Old man. I haven't touched a drop since I walked out that night. Eli raises his brow. Doesn't speak, but the question is there, unspoken. Why now? Old man. I didn't get better for me. Not at first. He looks down at the coin like it still burns. Old man, I got clean because I thought maybe one day she'd find me, and I wanted to be worth finding. Eli swallows hard. The jukebox across the room clicks to life, unprompted, some glitch in the wiring, playing a faint jazz tune like background breath. Old man. But she never came, so I just kept staying clean, year after year. Beat the old man. I got clean too late. His eyes lift, soft but resolute. Old man. But I stayed clean. For her. Redemption doesn't always ask for applause. Sometimes, it just asks you to keep showing up. Community center, evening. The room is small, echoey. Folding chairs lined up in uneven rows. A community open mic night sign hangs crooked by the door. The crowd is small, older folks, teenagers, strangers passing time. Eli sits alone on stage at a weathered upright piano, his fingers resting lightly on the keys. A single spotlight bathes him in soft white. The audience murmurs quiets. Then, he begins to play. The melody is familiar, but not exact. It begins like the lullaby his mother once hummed, like the one his grandfather had cried to. But now it stretches, changes, becomes something new. His fingers move with more heart than training, more emotion than polish, and it's beautiful. In the very back row, near the exit, the old man sits alone, hands in his lap. He doesn't breathe for a moment. The notes wrap around him, dragging memory like a net. Lena in pigtails, her small hands on ivory keys. Her laughter, a verse emerges. No words, just music. But somehow, it says everything. Eli sways as he plays, lost in it. There is no performance here, only an offering. The song finishes quietly. No crescendo. Just a final note held a breath too long, and when it fades, silence. Not a single clap, just the old man, still in the back, tears trailing down both cheeks. His mouth doesn't move, but his eyes do. They find Eli, and for the first time in years, maybe decades, they shine with something deeper than regret. Some people are never sung to, but they're still waiting for a song meant only for them. Lena's house, early morning. Raining, the street is still. The kind of still that comes before forgiveness, or a final goodbye. Rain falls in soft waves, steady and whispering. Not angry, not violent, just persistent, like it's been falling for years. A worn sedan pulls to the curb. The old man steps out slowly. No umbrella, no hat. Just him, the weather, and a folded photo in his coat pocket. Lena's house. Same time. Inside, Lena stands at the kitchen sink, staring into the gray light spilling through the window. She sips coffee, unmoving, her eyes not quite focused. She feels something, but doesn't know why yet. Front porch. Continuous. The old man climbs the steps, shoes splashing through shallow puddles. His coat soaks quickly, but he doesn't flinch. In his hand is the photo Eli found weeks ago, the one of young Lena on the hood of a car, sun-kissed and laughing. He sets it down gently at the base of the front door, protected in a sandwich bag, sealed with a folded napkin inside. He stands there for a moment, as if maybe she'll open the door, as if maybe the past will greet him with something other than silence. But the door stays shut, and still, he speaks. Quiet, raw, old man. I'm sorry. Just that, no knock, no call. He just turns and walks back down the steps, head bowed under the falling sky. Sometimes closure doesn't need an audience. Just rain, and a whisper left at a door. Lena's living room, late morning. The rain has stopped. Outside, the pavement glistens, puddles catching bits of silver light. Inside, it's quiet. Too quiet. Eli stands near the front door, holding the photo and napkin in his hand. The same ones the old man left just hours ago. He sets them gently on the coffee table beside a half-finished mug of coffee. Lena sits across from him, arms folded, expression unreadable. Eli. He didn't knock, didn't wait. Just left it and walked away. She stares at the photo, still doesn't touch it. Eli. He's not asking for a parade. He's not even asking to come back. I think he just wanted to leave something with weight, before he disappeared again. Lena exhales, slowly. Her walls aren't crumbling, but something's bending. Lena. That picture. It was the last day we were happy. Eli nods once. He already figured. She finally picks up the napkin, reads it again. It's just one line. You were light. I just didn't know how to carry it. Her breath catches in her throat. Lena, he wasn't evil, Eli. He was broken. And when You're raised by broken people. You learn to carry their silence before you ever learn your own voice. Eli leans forward, elbows on knees. Eli, you could have told me. Lena, I didn't want you growing up feeling like you came from pain. Her voice drops. Softer now. Lena, I was trying to protect you, but maybe I hurt you instead. The hardest apologies are the ones that don't sound like apologies, but land like one anyway. Eli's apartment. Night. The shoebox of letters sits on Eli's small table, open and quiet, like it's finally exhaled. Eli kneels beside it, organizing them by year. Some envelopes stick, others crumble at the corners, but it feels like honoring a grave, each one touched. Seen. He reaches the bottom of the box and pauses. Tucked beneath the final stack is a smaller box, wrapped in faded tissue paper, yellowed and soft at the edges. It wasn't there before. The old man must have added it quietly. Eli opens it. Inside lies a necklace. Simple. A single smoothed piece of a piano key. Ivory, chipped, strung on a thin, frayed leather cord. Eli lifts it slowly. The moment his fingers touch it, his breath catches. Flashback. Eli's memory, kitchen. Years ago, a younger. Lena stirs soup on the stove. She's humming that lullaby again, around her neck, swaying gently as she moves. The same necklace. Little Eli tugs at it once. Young Eli. What's that, Mama? She smiles softly. Lena. A piece of something that used to help me feel safe, back to, present. Eli sits down on the floor, the necklace in his palm, trembling. He runs his thumb over the smooth surface, worn from time, from fingers that clung to it like a memory. Sometimes healing doesn't come with answers. It comes with what's left behind. Eli places the necklace gently around his neck, closes his eyes. This wasn't just a gift, it was a bridge. It belonged to Lena, from her childhood lessons. Diner, night, closed sign in window. The tables are wiped, chairs stacked. The usual hum of life replaced with a quiet that hums with goodbye. A closing for good sign hangs near the register, handwritten and taped slightly crooked. The town's favorite corner is saying farewell. Eli moves through the space slowly, like he's packing up a memory. He straightens the salt shakers, turns off the main lights, leaving only the warm glow of the jukebox. He walks over to it and scrolls through the dusty tracks. Fingers hover over the same song he's played 100 times, but he doesn't press it. Instead, he walks to the small upright piano tucked in the corner. No one ever plays it, until now. He sits down. The stool creaks under his weight. A breath, then his fingers press down. And the lullaby begins, soft, raw, real. The music flows through the empty booths, rising to the faded ceiling tiles and echoing off the stainless steel behind the counter. It doesn't need an audience, but it has one. Diner parking lot. Same time. The old man stands just outside the window, barely visible through the condensation. He doesn't knock, doesn't go in. He just listens. His eyes brim again, but he doesn't wipe them this time. He watches the boy, his grandson, play the melody he once hummed to a baby he never raised. Then, quietly, he turns and walks away into the night, coat flapping in the wind. Some endings don't come with applause, just a final note, played for the ghosts that stayed behind. City bus. Friday afternoon. Ellie rides with his head against the window, watching the city move past like a fading film reel. Vendors. Kids running through puddles. A woman in headphones humming to herself, but no gray coat. No old man walking the sidewalk. No figure at the corner booth. Diner, earlier that week. Empty, the closed sign still in the window. Eli sat there anyway. Coffee, 2 cups, waiting. He waited every Wednesday. 1 week, then 2, nothing. Eli's apartment. Night, the necklace. swings gently from his neck as he paces, phone pressed to his ear. Eli, Kayla, you sure he hasn't come in? Beat. No. No, it's fine, just… Thanks. He hangs up, stares at the stack of letters now spread across his floor like pages from a lost life. One still unopened. Library Computer Lab. Next day Eli sits at a dusty public terminal, types slowly into a search engine. City Hospital Visitor Registry. Patient Lookup. He clicks through forms, names, alerts. Cross-checks with old details from letters. A P.O. box. A last name from one envelope. Garrett. Then, he finds it. Garrett, Thomas E. Admitted. Last week, General Hospital, East Wing, room 414. Eli leans back in the plastic chair. His jaw tightens, eyes close, a moment of breath. Then he stands. Sometimes the silence isn't rejection. Sometimes it's the sound of someone slipping away. General Hospital, East Wing. Night. The hallway is white, too white. Like grief dressed in sterile clothes. ICU 4B glows faintly at the end of the corridor. Machines beep behind closed doors, each one singing a different version of urgency. Eli walks slowly, his sneakers quiet on the tile. He clutches a paper, visitor approval, and a wrinkled photo from the shoebox. Room 414. He stops in front of it. Through the small glass pane he sees the old man, tubes in his nose, pale, thin, a blanket tucked around his legs. He looks nothing like the man who stood in the rain. Room 414. Moments later. Ellie steps in. The old man's eyes flutter open. They struggle to focus. But when they do, something shifts. Softness. Shame. Relief. All at once. Eli. You look like hell. The old man tries to laugh. It comes out as a wheeze. Old man. If I knew you were coming, I would have combed what's left of my hair. Eli pulls up the visitor chair, sits beside the bed. A long pause. Eli. Why didn't you tell me, old man? I didn't want pity, didn't want our talks to turn into a goodbye. Eli swallows hard. His eyes sting, but he holds them steady. Eli. You were missed this week. The old man smiles, cracked and tired. His voice is barely there now. Old man, I just wanted to be known. That's all. Not forgiven, not fixed, just seen. Some people don't ask to be remembered. They just hope not to be forgotten. Hospital room, night continues. The lights dim low. A nurse passes in the hall, but the world in room 414 feels completely still. Eli sits beside the bed. The old man dozes lightly, breaths shallow but steady. The silence is thick, not empty, like something sacred is about to unfold. Then, the door opens. Softly, Lena enters. No announcement. No drama. Just her. Her coat is wet from the rain. Her eyes, unreadable. She steps inside like someone returning to a house they once ran from. Eli rises, doesn't speak, just gives her space. He squeezes her hand briefly, then steps out into the hallway. She stands at the edge of the room, looks at her father. For the first time in decades, he stirs, eyes open. Blink. He sees her. His lips part, but no words come. Just breath. Trembling. Fragile. She pulls the visitor's chair closer, not rushed, sits down beside him. The air between them is full of everything they've never said. He tries to speak again. Old man. Lena. She closes her eyes briefly at the sound of her name in his voice, then opens them. Lena. Don't speak. A beat. She takes a breath. Her voice, low. Lena. You left me when I needed you most. Tears run silently down his cheeks. Lena, you were cruel. Selfish. Small. Another beat. Her eyes glisten now. Lena. But you're still my father. She reaches out and places her hand over his. Forgiveness doesn't always sound like love. Sometimes it just sits in a chair and stays. Hospital room. Early morning, the sky outside is turning pale blue, like the night is slowly exhaling. In room 414, no one speaks, but everything is being said. Lena sits at her father's bedside, her hand still resting over his. His eyes are closed, now, but his fingers gently twitch, holding her, remembering her, trying not to let go too soon. The only sound in the room is the rhythmic beep of the heart monitor, steady but slowing. Lena brushes a loose piece of hair from her forehead and leans back slightly. The moment is quiet, but not cold. Hospital hallway. Just outside, Eli stands at the window in the door, watching. He doesn't interrupt, doesn't knock, just watches his mother, her father, and something sacred between them that he'll never fully understand. But now, finally, respects. He sees her reach for a tissue and gently dab at the corners of her father's eyes. The old man's chest rises and falls with soft, deliberate breaths. Lena doesn't cry now. She just stays, present, forgiving in her own way. Room 414. Continuous. Their hands stay locked, hers older, weathered by motherhood and distance. His older still, skin translucent, fingers trembling like the last notes of a piano. No words, just hands. Hallway. Continuous. Ellie exhales. His own hand lifts slowly, resting over his chest where the piano key necklace lies beneath his shirt. Some love is too broken to rebuild, but it still reaches through blood, through time, through silence. Hospital room. Late afternoon. The light is golden now, soft like a memory, resting gently across the blankets. The machines beep slower, steadier, each one whispering time. Eli sits in the corner, a small electric keyboard in his lap, wires snaking to a portable speaker. He brought it hours ago, waited for the right moment. Now, it feels like this is it. Lena sits beside her father, one hand in his, the other resting on her knee. Still, the old man's eyes flutter open. Barely. But they find Eli across the room. And he smiles. Thin, fragile but real, Eli. You remember the melody? The old man blinks once. A yes. Too weak to speak. Eli begins to play. The same lullaby. But now it's slower. Sadder. Final. The goodbye version. It floats through the room like something sacred. Each note hanging longer than it should, like the music doesn't want to leave either. Lena closes her eyes, tears trailing silently. She knows this song, knows it from her childhood, knows it from Eli's fingers. The old man breathes in. Slow, breathes out, slower. His fingers twitch against hers. His lips try to hum. But the voice is gone now. Only the music remains, and then the final note. Long, clear, held. And as it fades, so does he. His chest stills. The monitor flatlines. But his face stays soft, still smiling, still hearing the melody in whatever place he's gone. Eli lowers his hands from the keys. The silence is immediate, but peaceful. Some people die in silence, others die in song. He died in both, with their hands in his, and music in the air. Small-town law office. 2 weeks later. Muted sunlight filters through dusty blinds. A ticking wall clock is the only sound, matching the slow rhythm of breath and grief. Eli sits in a worn leather chair across from a balding, soft-spoken lawyer. Lena sits beside him, hands folded in her lap, calm but unreadable. A stack of papers lies on the desk. The lawyer clears his throat gently. Lawyer Mr. Jameson, your grandfather left very little behind materially. No savings, no insurance, but he did leave this. He opens a small wooden box, slides it across. Inside, a single silver house key tied to a faded blue ribbon, and an envelope, yellowed and hand-addressed. To Elijah, my only grandchild. Eli hesitates before opening it. His fingers tremble slightly. He pulls out a short, handwritten note. The ink is shaky, some letters faded, but every word carved like it meant everything. You don't inherit blood. You earn family. And you earned mine. This cottage was the only thing I ever finished in my life. I was going to die in it, but you gave me a reason to walk out of it again. Now it's yours. Fill it with music. Fill it with the kind of love I never knew how to give. J. Eli lowers the note, eyes wet but steady. Lena, softly. He really left you the house? Lawyer. He did. Said it wasn't much, but it was the only place where he ever believed he could start over. Eli runs a thumb over the key. It's cold, but somehow warm in his palm. Some people leave behind legacies. Others leave behind silence. And some just leave behind a key to a door they hope you'll finally open. On the back of the letter, to the boy who held my hand when I was no one. Countryside cottage, early morning. The cottage is small, weathered wood, peeling white trim, nestled at the edge of a quiet clearing where sunlight drips through the trees like honey. Eli stands in front of it, backpack over one shoulder, key in hand. No fanfare. No one around, just birdsong and a breeze. He inserts the key into the lock. It sticks for a second, then clicks. He steps inside. Cottage. Continuous. The air smells like dust and wood smoke. There's a record player in the corner, a pile of classical vinyls, and a shelf of old books about jazz, carpentry, and sobriety. Everything is simple, humble, but there's something peaceful here. Like time itself slowed down. He walks the room slowly, fingers trailing over surfaces. On a table, a picture frame. A young Lena, maybe 10 years old, sitting on a porch step with a toy keyboard in her lap. Her smile is sunlit. Eli's eyes soften. He finds a wooden box under the bed. Opens it. Inside, sheet music, handwritten. Dozens of them, some yellowed, some newer. He flips through. One page catches his eye. The handwriting is smaller, loopier. Not his grandfather's. It's Lena's. A child's cursive. Daddy's song. For piano, if he ever comes back. Eli holds it like it might fall apart in his hands. He walks over to the small upright piano in the corner. Sits. Presses a key. It's slightly out of tune. But real. He begins to play slowly. The melody is simple, innocent, a child's song waiting to be finished. Some homes are made of walls, others are made of memories. This one was built out of forgiveness, dust, and music. As he plays, a breeze lifts the curtain beside him. The sunlight lands on the old photograph, Lena with her father, now whole again in the music. Cottage front porch. Late afternoon. The sun leans low in the sky, casting long golden shadows across the overgrown path. Lena stands just outside the front gate, hands buried in the pockets of her cardigan. She hasn't been here in decades. The breeze carries the faint, broken melody of a piano, gentle and half forgotten. She steps forward. Cottage. Continuous Ali sits at the upright piano, still in yesterday's shirt, sleeves rolled up. He doesn't notice her at first. She peers through the open window by the side of the porch. She watches him, her son, playing a lullaby written by a child version of herself. Her throat tightens. She sees the open box of sheet music nearby, the old photograph in the corner, and then the piano key necklace, now placed reverently on the windowsill. Eli, softly, not turning. You used to sing the second part of this. When I was sick, you always hummed it when you thought I was asleep. Lena blinks, startled. Lena, quietly. I didn't think you remembered that. Eli? I didn't, not until I found the sheet. Beat. Then it came back. She steps around to the porch. He opens the door. She walks in slowly, eyes taking in the room like a place she'd sealed off long ago. She runs her fingers over the dusty frame of the photo. Lena, He took this the week before everything fell apart. I cried the whole ride home. Hated this house. Hated the way it smelled like wet leaves. She turns to Eli. Lena, softly. I hated this place. But I think it's time I forgive it. Some places don't change, but sometimes we do. Enough to return. Enough to let go. Eli offers her the piano bench beside him. She hesitates, then sits. Side by side, silence between them. But not the heavy kind. The healing kind. Small-town coffee house. Evening warm, low lighting. Exposed brick walls. String lights draped across the ceiling. A modest open mic night. Couples chatting, fingers wrapped around warm mugs. Eli stands backstage, cradling his old acoustic guitar. He wears a wrinkled button-up, sleeves rolled to the elbow, heart pounding. His name is called. He steps into the light. The microphone creaks. A hush settles over the room. He sits on a wooden stool. Guitar in lap, Eli, into mic. I wrote this for two people who taught me that silence can be louder than music. But healing? Healing sounds like forgiveness. He starts to play. Soft, aching notes pour into the air. The melody is part lullaby, part memory, a fusion of his mother's humming, his grandfather's whistling, and his own voice stitched in between. The lyrics, simple, honest. You left before I knew your name, but I still sang you home, and though the chair sat empty, I never felt alone. The room listens, still, breathless. Lena sits near the back, eyes shimmering with tears. A waitress pauses mid-pour. An elderly couple holds hands tighter. A father presses a kiss to his toddler's forehead. Eli's voice wavers, then steadies. I hated you for leaving, till I saw you trying to return, and I learned some hearts still beat, even when they burn. As the final note fades, applause erupts, genuine and warm. But Eli doesn't smile. He's looking at a single empty chair near the front. Reserved, waiting. No one ever sat there. Sometimes we sing for those who are gone, and sometimes we sing for the ones who tried to come back. Cottage. Night a storm whispers outside. Just light rain against the old windows. Eli sits at the upright piano, a letter in hand, folded carefully. He lights a candle beside it. No electricity tonight, just quiet. He places the letter gently on the music stand above the keys, where his grandfather used to watch from the corner, silently mouthing the melody. Eli, V.O. Dear Grandpa, I don't know if souls get mail, but just in case they do, flashes, brief images, like memory echoes. The old man weeping quietly in the diner, his trembling hand gripping Eli's. The folded sobriety chip, the last smile as Eli played Their Song Lie, V.O. You missed birthdays, missed scraped knees, missing teeth, and report cards. But somehow, you didn't miss the moment that mattered. Eli lights a single stick of incense. The smoke curls upward. He places the worn-out photo of Lena, the one from the parking lot, beside the letter, Eli, V.O. I thought I'd never forgive you, and maybe I haven't fully, but I no longer carry the weight. You helped me set it down. He runs his fingers along the ivory keys. But he doesn't play. Not tonight. Eli. V.O. Thank you for staying, even when it hurt. For listening, for watching, for holding on long enough. You were late, but you came, and that was enough. Eli places the piano key necklace next to the letter. A soft wind slips through the cracked window. The candle flickers, but doesn't go out. Not all goodbyes are endings. Some are beginnings in disguise. Cottage. Early morning, soft amber sunlight spills through the open windows of the countryside cottage. Steam rises from a chipped mug of tea on the windowsill. Birds call faintly from the trees outside. Eli kneels in the garden, hands covered in dirt. He's planting a row of tiny green sprouts, life in motion. Inside, Lena walks barefoot across the wooden floor. She carries a watering can to the window plants, trailing ivy, rosemary, a sun-starved fern. She hums, absent-minded, gentle, a soft little tune. Eli pauses, looks up from the soil, head tilted. The tune is familiar. The lullaby, his lullaby, her lullaby, their lullaby. Lena doesn't even notice she's doing it. She pours water carefully, tends the leaves, still humming, unaware that her heart is singing what her mouth forgot. Eli, softly to himself. You remember. He doesn't say it louder. He doesn't interrupt. He lets her have that moment. Pure, unbroken. Cottage. Living room. Moments later, Ellie sets a framed photo on the mantel. The old man, smiling faintly, not young, not forgiven, but known. Beneath it, a folded napkin, the one he wrote on. The words still legible. I'm sorry I wasn't there, but I'm here now. Wounds do not vanish, but they can turn into melodies, passed down without even knowing. Back to window. Lena sips her tea, gazing out across the field. Still humming. Still healing. Eli walks past her quietly, smiling. She doesn't even realize she's humming it. Hilltop sunsetta. Slow breeze brushes tall golden grass. Eli stands alone at the top of a hill behind the cottage, the piano key necklace in one hand. The sun dips low. Warm, aching light spilling across the horizon. His voice narrates, steady and soft, ELIVO. Not all stories begin with love. Some begin with loss, with silence, with a door that never opened until someone knocked twice. Flashback montage. The first time the old man cried into Eli's palm, the photograph in the rain, Lena turning her face away at the dinner table. The last song Eli played at the diner, a hand reaching out in the ICU. 3 generations in one hospital room. The letter on the piano, Lena humming ELIVO. I thought I was just a busboy, a nobody, invisible in a world of noise. But sometimes, we're just waiting to be remembered. Downtown diner. Day, new time. A different young busboy now. He clears a table quietly. Outside the glass, Eli walks by, a little older, now holding a music case. He glances in, smiles faintly, and keeps walking. ELIVO. If you're reading this, if someone left you too soon, if you're wondering whether healing is still possible, it is. Cottage. Night Lena sits by the fire. Eli plays, gently, the lullaby one last time. Not perfect, not polished, but honest. She listens. He doesn't look at her. She doesn't look at him, but their hands rest on the same arm of the chair. ELIVO. Some arrivals take decades, but even late love can still be true.